Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. Fine. So as decided, we are going to see what is reusable component in Angular. Either reusability, what's the term reusability? First, I will explain that, then we will jump to the reusable components. So this is the existing, just a new project I'm trying. So the login credential is this 112233 is my password. Fine. So currently in my application, I have an employee table. Inside this employee table also, you can see I have a table. If I go to the project page, here also I'm able to see the table. If I click on employees, here also again I'm able to see the project, table, correct? Again in the table data. So consider you have a project, you are working on a project, and in your project, you have a requirement like in every pages. If it's an admin application, obviously we show data in the table or the card format. So in every component, you are repeating this HTML code. See, in employee component also we have this. Then if we go to the project, here also we have it. And in the same project component at the bottom in the model pop-up also again we have the table. So if you see, it's just table. So you will say like, yeah, it's a table, but in every column we have some different value. And over here data is also different. So how it is repeating? Obviously it's repeating. So see, the basic structure mean HTML content, it's a fixed. You can make this thing dynamic. You can make this thing also dynamic. So instead of, see, in every component, how many lines it is taking? Around 12 to 13 line or 15, max 20 line. How many columns you are increasing? Like that, your HTML code is going to increase in every component. Correct. Now in employee component, we have this particular number of line. In project component, we have this. And in the project list also, we have again same list. So in every component, wherever you are going to show the table, wherever you are supposed to show the data, you are going to use the table. So this particular HTML code you are going to repeat. Yeah, data, column name and data is going to be different, but still that whole structure we are writing again and again. So this is repeated code. So how do we make this repeated code into a reusable code? So that's where our reusable component comes in. Again, reusable component is not like something another component. It's just a normal component, whatever you know till now. It just, we can send some data to that component. Fine. Now, so as I explained, in employee component also have the table. In project component, I have table two times. One is the normal page and one is the model pop-up. Fine. Now I need to create a reusable table component where I can have everything, whatever we need in the basic table. What we need in the basic table, we should have a heading. Data should be visible. We should have edit and the delete button, something like that. Correct? So we need, our table should show the headings, whatever we want. It should render the data, whatever we want, and it should have some edit and the delete button, basic button, whatever we require. Fine. So now I want to create a reusable table. So inside app folder, let's create shared folder. And inside shared folder, I will create component. Sorry, inside shared components, just a folder structure we normally follow while working in project. That's why I have created shared folder. Now in component, I need to create a component. So ng generate component. Let's say we are creating a component which will act as a reusable table. So I will give name as my table. Let's enter. So it will create a normal component. Whenever we talk about reusable component, we are not supposed to create a route of the reusable component. I said we are not supposed to, but we can create. Okay. This is a tricky interview question. Someone will try to ask you, like, can we create a route of the reusable component? Obviously, it's a component, so we can create a route. But reusable component, we normally, that component we are going to use in another components. So normally we don't go and create the routes of the reusable component. Fine. Now we have created our reusable component. Now, whatever the code which was repeating, let's get the code from our employee table. So this was the code which was getting repeated multiple times. So I will copy this and I will put it over here. Now, if you see this piece of code, what are the things which we can make it dynamic? Means what are the things which are going to change as per the scenario. So these headings are going to change, these data are going to change, and edit and the button, as we said, basic buttons we will keep. So this will be same, but this data and these headings, these are the two things which are going to be changed according wherever we are going to use this component. We will send the heading and the data, so this table should render that heading and should render the particular data. Fine. Now in my reusable table, I will create properties. So every component will have variable. Someone will call it as a state or someone will call it as a properties also. So now we are going to create variable. So if we see this, how many input we are going to need? First input is, I'm considering like everyone know basic input and output, so not going into detail. So input is whenever we have to pass data from parent component to child component, we can pass the data by using input. But input we have to create in our child component. Fine. So this is our child component. So here I'm going to create input. Input is nothing just like a property, but we just have to add an input decorator. So let's say first, what do we say? Input we are going to need is, uh, we are going to need columns, like how many columns we are going to have. So let's say column array. I'm currently going with string. First, very basic reusable table we will create, then we will little bit advance it. Fine. We are going to get array of string. Obviously, columns are multiple headings like serial number, name, ID, something, whatever it is. Right. So we are going to get, we have created a simple property in client in column array. Mukul, please don't use the whiteboard. How do I clear that? That also I'm clear all trying. Yeah. Fine. So we have created this input. Now this variable we have to convert into input. So what we need to do, beside this variable, we just need to add our input decorator. So at the rate capital I and input. Fine. So once you select it, input will be automatically updated. Input and then round bracket. So sorry. Fine. So now we have converted this normal variable into input property. Now wherever I'm using this component, I can send the data to this property. Fine. Now this is first input. Second input will be actual data, what we need to display. So second input, grid data. Guys, please don't use it. I cannot ask everyone else. No, it's going to be array of objects. I'm simply going with any because this is our reusable component. We are sometimes we are going to pass employee data, sometimes we are going to pass client data, sometimes we are going to, so data can be anything. So we cannot provide here any data type, class or interface, because everything is dynamic. Correct? So we have created two input into this component. Now let's open this over here. Now, as I said, these are going to be our dynamic. So serial number, obviously every component needs serial number. So this will be static. But after that, this TH should be dynamic. So for that, again, this action will be static. So these are the actual columns which should be dynamic. So what I will do, I will use at the rate for loop. Again, either you use at the rate for loop or ng for nothing change, right? Now, inside this, we need to put our th. Now, instead of this static, we will use this item because in item, we are going to get the string because column array is of a string of array. Fine. So in our reusable components, serial number and action button, the action column heading, these are the static one, but remaining field are going to be dynamic. Fine. This we have done. Let's test this first. So we have created our reusable component. In that create reusable component, we have created two input, column array and the grid data. So we have used column array over here so that heading will be dynamic. Let's just test this first. Let's say in employee component, I will use. Now, again, this is Angular 19 project. So if we have to use that employee reusable table, so we need to import it. Fine. So let's go to .ts of the employee component. And here we need to import our my table component. Fine. Otherwise, you cannot use. Now, I will comment this piece of code, the HTML table. Now app hyphen my table, selector of my reusable component. Now, if you see, if I press control space, so you can see it is suggesting column array and the grid data, whatever the input we have created. Now let's try to create one more variable is edit colon boolean. So see, in this component, we have three variable, column array, grid data, and is edit. So just these two variables we have said input. So now if you see over here, only these two variables are coming. Is edit is not coming over here because that is a private variable within this component only. So once we add input, this becomes public. From wherever we use this component, we are giving authority to that. You can pass the data to this variable, or you can access the data also like that. Okay. So whenever you have to convert your normal variable into input, so if you add the input, then that variable will be accessible outside that component also. Fine. Now, so over here, first column array we will need. Now, what type of data it needs? String of array. So see how many columns were there. So now here only I'm creating array. We can create a normal variable also in a employee component, and then variable we can pass. Let's go that way. This might be confusing who are new. So let's create an array. Let me close everything. Otherwise it will get very confusing. Fine. So in employee component, I am creating an array where we will store what columns I need to show in my reusable table. So column list colon string. We are going to create string of array. So how many columns we said in employee table? So in employee table, we have name. So as we said, serial number and action we have already created as a static in my reusable component, right? So here we just need to pass the remaining field. So name, again, one more thing. So we need to pass the exact field name. I will come to that. So don't pass, we are not passing the actual column name, what we need to display. We are just passing the field name. Fine. I will come to this. How do we, because first we will create very basic, then we will make it advanced. So whatever the field name I have in my array that I'm passing, whatever I need to display. Okay. Then department ID. Fine. So see what we did in employee component.ts, we have created a column list where what are the columns we have that we want to display. Fine. Now this variable, I will pass it over here. Fine. Let's just save and check. So if we go to employee, see why item, it is coming item in reusable component. I think we did some mistake over there. Yeah. So see directly we printed, it should be in the interpolation now. Item. Now, whatever the properties we have, whatever the array we have passed, that much my extra th will be created in between serial number and action. See, employee name, contact number, email ID, whatever the column we have passed, it is rendering that now. I hope the first point is clear. We have from the employee component, we are passing the data. Now, same thing we will pass in the project component also. Now, in project component, so here also we need to import the component. So in import statement, my table component I have imported. Then over here, let's comment this app my table. Now here, instead of creating a variable, I'm directly providing variable array over here only. Fine. Square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote. Fine. Let's check how many fields were there. So project name as first field, client name, start date, employee name. Fine. Only 4 field we have to show. Fine. So save and check now. So now if we go to the project page, see project name, client name. So we are in project also, we are using our reusable table, and in employee also. So from employee component, we are passing employee field. So it is rendering that. In project component, we are passing project field. So we are rendering that. Now, next task is we need to render the data also. So inside project name, we need to show the project name. Inside client name, we need to show the client name. Now, this is the really tricky part. Okay, when it comes to the reusable component. Now, over here, We said we have created one more input also, grid data. Now let's pass it also. So in employee component, what you will pass it to the grid data? Obviously the API call data, that is employee list. I'm passing it over here. And same to the project also, we will just complete it so that it will be easier for us to check both the component. Grid data is equal to project list. Fine. So to my reusable component, I have passed the column list also and the actual data also in both employee and the project component. Now, so this was a TH. TH part is done. Now in T body, we have to render everything dynamic because I don't know what I cannot create TR and then I can use for loop and normal way because my column should be dynamic also. This TD also should repeat, na? Right? So for that, how do we change that? So first, how many means on the TR, how many times TR should repeat? How many rows we have to display? So how many rows? Based on grid data, because grid data is the variable which will decide how many rows you have to create, right? So first for loop will be on my TR. So at the rate for loop grid data, inside that I will create the TR. Now, inside TR, you can see here we have two static TH. First is for the serial number and second is for the action. So before now we will face an issue because index we will get it over here. Yeah, let it be. We will cover. So first TD. Okay. In first TD, what we need to display? Serial number. So dollar index we will print. Okay. Then let's just save it and check it if we are able to see the serial numbers properly. We have not done anything. Okay. I just want to see. See above below serial name, only serial number is coming properly. If we go to employee here also, what number of means my TR got created properly. How many rows I have in my table, that much time my TR is getting created properly. Now we in each TD, we need to show the respective field data also. Fine. So now if you see how many TD we need to create. So how many columns we have, that much TD we need to create, correct? So again, we will inside this for loop, again, we will use for loop. Now that for loop will be on this column array because this TD also need to be dynamic. Na? How many columns I have said, that much time in my T body also my TD should be there. Fine. So now over here, I will simply print TD and inside that I will print the whole data of this item slash JSON. Oh, we need to import the pipe also. JSON. Fine. See, nowadays interview patterns are changing very drastically. No one will ask you to complete the CRUD operation because everyone knows, everyone is now aware like how ChatGPT is powerful or other AI tools. You can just provide the prompt and it will do everything for you. But what like there is a limitation from company side also. What and various tasks they also create na. So in small companies they have limitation like they cannot waste efforts on the interview. So they when they judge the interview they will ask you to do in front of them. So you cannot use any AI tool. So otherwise anyhow you have to use this logic. Let's say companies who are not looking when you are they are not looking when you are completing, they will just provide you the machine test and ask you complete, then you can use chat gpt or any AI tool. But still to complete that, now they are creating machine test or tasks like it cannot be easily found by using chat gpt. You need to implement your logic. So if your logic is proper, then only you will be able to complete that task, right? So that one of the thing, small logic we are going to see now. So what see here I'm printing complete item means my data. After that I am giving two hyphen and again I'm printing this okay, item got twice. So we need to change it. Column name. Fine. And this column name I will print it over here. Fine. See now what kind of data I get. This is the logic. If you understand this, then you will be able to complete it. See now, in employee object, first JSON, we got the complete object. And what is the field? Employee name. So from this complete object, we have this field over here. See? Now what you need to do from this complete object, you need to get the particular field value. So how do we do that? In item, you get the complete object. From that, you need a particular field value. So What you can do normally, how do we read the object value? By using dot. Let's try that first. Okay, it won't print anything, but let's try. It is not printing anything. Ideally, it should print. Now we are trying to access one particular value from the object. But in this column name, what do we have? A string value. So when we access the object, there are two ways, either by using dot property, or another way is where we have a variable, and in that variable we have the field name. So square bracket, and then we can pass. So now that way we are going to use it over here. So square bracket and the property name. So now it will print particular field value. See, got it? On each column, particular data is visible. If I go to projects, see, now my reusable component is rendering this data. So this was the logic. How do we render the data? Okay. Now serial number. Okay. So that was coming from 0. So +1. Fine. So our basic table is created. Let's move to the next point. Now we need, as we said, let's say your application is very straightforward application. Most of the application we work are straightforward. We do basic CRUD operations only. Obviously business and the logic will keep on changing, but we make API call, we design the form, we show the data either in table, card, whatever. But it's basically CRUD application. Most of the 90% web applications are the CRUD applications only. Yeah, in some cases it will be website view, but still we need to show data somewhere we will use card or table, but we show this, correct? So this kind of logic, it's going to be useful everywhere. Okay. Now, as we said, we need a table where we should be able to display the data, and we need a edit and the delete button also. So as we said, here we have created static action. Now inside this tr, we need one more td, and here we will have that edit and the delete button. Let's just copy paste this. Fine. Let's remove this edit function or click function for now. And let's check if we are getting the button. See, here we are getting, let's just add some space, mx2. See, here also we are getting the button. Here also we are getting the button. Fine. Now, what we need to do over here, because on click of edit, the functionality, this edit button is coming from your child component. But on click of edit, the functionality you have written in the employee component, that is in parent component. So now from your child component, you need to explain to the parent component, like on which record I have clicked on the edit, right? From child component, you need to send some data to the parent component informing like user clicked on this particular button with this particular record. So now we are going to need output. So input, where do we use it? When we have to pass the data from parent to child, that's where we use input. And vice versa, from child to parent, if we have to pass the data, we pass it by using output with the help of event emitter. Fine. Let's create that now. Because edit and the delete functionality are already done in the parent component. Now we just need to enable those function from over here. Now in my reusable table, I need to create output. Let's get rid of this and the rate output round bracket on edit is equal to new event emitter, data type event emitter. What type of data? Again, any, because we don't know. Sometimes we are going to use this table for employee, project, client, anything. Fine. So we have created first output, that is on edit. Just like that, another output. Guys, just wait. Let me complete. Then I will take up the questions. Is equal to new event emitters. Again, any round bracket. Fine. So we have created two inputs into our child component. Now we need respective functions also, because we have these buttons. Now on click of this button, we need to right click event. So let's right click on edit on or on edit button clicked. Let's make it more suitable to our scenario. Function. Let's create this, and to this function we need to pass the object. Object is nothing but this item. Just like that, we need delete also. On delete button clicked. Fine. Let's create these two function, local function into our reusable component. First function, then second function. Now both function is going to have get the data item colon any. Same over here in the delete also. Now from edit, what we are going to edit? What we are going to emit? The output. This dot on edit dot emit is the function. So what we need to emit? Whatever the object we get. Fine. And same as it in delete function, this dot on delete dot emit item we will emit. Fine. So we have created in the table we have two respective button, one for the edit and one for the delete. On to each button we are calling this respected function, and from that we are emitting the output. Now these are the output. These were the input and these were the output. Output nothing but event. Now wherever I'm using this reusable table, so these were my input. Fine. Now if I press Control space, see outputs are also coming, but outputs are in the round bracket, just like a click event. If we have a button, we write like this. But these are also, this is also an HTML element, na? But this HTML element has some dedicated function. So that's we need to implement on edit. Now let's check the table. On click of delete, we were having this function. So this function we need to call over here. Means from my reusable table, if I trigger this button, if my function get triggered, in response to this execution, my parent function will trigger. And here we are going to get the data. So let's catch that in dollar event. Every time dollar event only, we cannot write something else. Second input on edit. What was the input? This was the parent function from our reusable component. Fine. Now my this function output and the function name are also same. Let's check the output name. On edit button clicked. Mhm. On edit clicked. Fine. Output name I'm changing because it will get confusing again. So that's why I'm changing the output name. Fine. Now over here also we need to change. Fine. Now here dollar event. So if you see in delete function, previously I was passing just the employee ID. So my function was like that. In edit, I was passing the whole object, but just delete function I need to change because previously I was over here only I was having the data, but now we are getting the delete function from our reusable component. So we are getting the whole item. So I just need to change that function little bit. So instead of ID, now it will be data. And over here, data dot, what was the field name? Employee ID I will pass. The remaining things will be same. Fine. Let's add a debugger on edit also. This function and delete function also. Let's save and check now. Okay. On one more here also I will add the debugger and here also. Now just see. Now I'm clicking on Chetan record. So on click of edit, first function will get triggered from my reusable component. See my table. I got the data, complete data. See, and this data I'm passing along with my output. So once I continue from my reusable table, my parent function will get triggered. See, edit function, and we got the data. Whatever the data we pass from my table, we got it. And that data we are assigning to the employee object. Okay, but that form is not visible. So see, again, let's see. If I click on employee one, we got the employee one data. Continue, that data we got in the parent component, and that data is visible over here. Developer, see, right? Let's go to project and check the same thing again. If I click on social media project on click of edit, see, I got the data, project data, and that data I'm emitting. We didn't add the debugger. Oh, sorry. So in the project component, we didn't catch the input. Now only an employee component we have done. Let's do the same thing over here also. So on delete clicked, what was the function? Okay, here also Okay, I didn't implement the delete functionality over, only edit was there. So let's implement edit only. Fine. And here dollar event. Let's say event check. So now in project component also I have implemented my output. Now, if I click on social media edit, so from item child component, we got the data. That data we are passing with our output, and that output we have already catching on my parent component. So my respective function from my project component will trigger. Where is that edit? Yeah, over here. Continue. So see, we got the data. And that data we are initializing with the form. See, data is available in the form. Right? So now in your application, wherever you need the table with basic edit and the delete button, you will use that table. So now you don't need this whole code. You can just go ahead and remove it. Right? So now your lines of code are also reduced. Another advantage, obviously you have reduced the line of code. Let's say client said for edit and the delete button, instead of this, now I need that another color. So now it's a single place where you want to change. So you just go to your reusable table and change the color. Instead of success, let's say that outline. Fine. Let's add this over here also. So reusable means you don't have to do the code again and again in everywhere. At a single place, you are doing whole code. See here also we got that button. In employee also we got that button. So this is reusable table. Fine. I think meeting will get closed because I used the free account today. Okay. So I will again start the recording. Will again post the link. Please join it again because just 3 minutes are remaining. Fine. So let me just stop it. Again, I will share the meeting. Please join it again. Okay. See, this is normal HTML page. Let's say in JavaScript, we have an object where student is equal to curly bracket. Let's say name is there, roll number. Okay. We have this object. How do you access roll number from this object?
Student dot roll number.
Right. So we can do console.log student dot directly by using like this. This is one way. Is there in another way to access roll number?
No.
Hmm?
Student square bracket roll number.
Student square bracket.
Yes.
You can pass the roll number also, na? This is also another way.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, in our case, what is this? This is just a string value, right? So either you write it like this, or let's have another variable, key name, and here you store roll number, and then you pass this roll number over here instead of this hard code value. One and the same thing. Either you
Yes.
can provide the value over here, or you can store that value anywhere, and then you can pass it. One and the same thing.
Yes.
Now that same thing we have done it over here. Now understood?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else have any doubt?
Do we have the option to, by index, if we can take the, because of the column name, can we use index, item index inside?
Where? Item index means?
Instead of the column name, here, yes.
No, line number?
Line number 16.
Here what you are saying? Index.
Here, can I access the same item by index? It's index.
No. Index object we access by the property, na? Right? Can we access object by indexing? Do we have indexing in the object? No, it's a key value pair data. Correct?
Just is
Okay.
this link not shared in learning partner too?
Wait, I didn't
Some
share.
people asking.
Wait. Just a minute. Okay, sorry, I forgot. Shared, it will take 1 or 2 seconds to go. So Mahmood, object, how do we access the object? By key or value? By key only, right? Because
Like in array we have index, but in JSON object, I don't think. I'm just asking the same question that if in JSON object we can have index.
no. Either it is a JSON object or JavaScript, anywhere. Object is like key value pair data. So we cannot access by index, no? Correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any question? See, in every actual project now, you will have a reusable table component. Either in so many applications I have seen, they might be using PrimeNG, but that PrimeNG table also they will wrap it up in a reusable component because they want to override the CSS and look and the feel of the PrimeNG also. Or even AG grid also. They will use AG grid, but again they will create a reusable component. Inside that they will use a AG grid because we need to modify the CSS whatever we have. Got it?
If you at some point of time can you explain Prime NG and EG Grid how to integrate?
Yeah, already I have created videos. Try to go through. If not understood, in one of the session I will explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here I can see the track dollar index. So what is the purpose of track?
So track is like in ng4 also we had this. There it was track by means we are actually creating a dynamic element, complete TR. So we need to inform Angular like from this what is the unique field you need to watch out for. So that if we change something to any object, so it should not re-render complete TR again. So it will just re-render that particular TR. So
Okay, so just
by
like
yeah.
virtual DOM, right? Just like
Yeah, if you know the React, there we have key. In React, we have key. Same concept is over here by track. And if you don't want to pass the index, you can pass your, let's say it's an employee array, so you can pass employee ID or something. But by default index 0, 1, 2, 3 is there. So that's why they provided index. Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Chetan, this two indexes, one index in the outer loop and one index in the inner loop.
Correct.
They will not get confused, any ambiguity.
We
If
are
I want to
not,
access,
we are not using it now. So it won't get confused. We are not using index now. So it doesn't matter if we, okay. But track by, I think it need it by default.
yes, track by is needed, but
Let's
in
try
case
to
we need
paste.
the outer index to use
So
somewhere.
see, this index we are using it over here. Let's try to use it over here also. Let's see what happens. Let's see either because in both the we should get it true or false. 0, -1, -2. Why minus? Okay, sorry. So here you can see 0, 1, 2, 3. I think it's taking this index only, not accessing this because this is the current, what do we say, execution context of the for loop. So it's not considering this one. It's only considering this one. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
At
Anyone else have
the
any
view
question?
child also we can access the property of child components, right? So can we do the same with like reusable table with at the rate view
Yes.
child also?
Yeah. You can access the see in parent component by creating view child of reusable component. You can access the properties, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. That is also one way.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone? So this was understood. Okay. Now tell me what is the problem? Whatever the component we have created, there is a small problem. See who has got that. we have one problem with this reusable component. What it is?
We use the alias for the header.
Yeah. So see, do we show header name like this? The field name,
No.
whatever the no, right? So now how do we tackle that? Because currently what we did, we passed the in header we have passed the whatever the field name we have, because in while rendering we needed that field name over here. Correct. Now, how do we specify our own column name? So for that, now in your reusable component, instead of passing the data as a string of array, now you need it object. Okay. Now in column array, you will say, or let's create interface over here. Export interface. Let's say table column. Guys, please be on mute. Here I will say field. Guys, please be on mute. Okay. So what I'm just creating an interface, instead of going any over here, I will create an interface. So first name be field name with data type string, and then header name, again data type string. Fine. So I have created interface. Now instead of any, I will pass my interface name. Okay. Now to this reusable component, this input column array needs array of object data, and that too field name and header name field. Okay. So now if we go to the employee component, now we have to change this. Now we don't need this column needs a column array. See over here only we should get the array. See, because this needs array of object and we were sending string of array. So now it will change. And instead of this string, we can use this interface also. So that typecasting will be there properly. Let's add the input. Field name. So what field name I have to pass? This particular field name. Then column name, whatever you need to pass. Header name. Now here you can pass whatever you need name proper, like this. Okay, first was done. Field name. Let me just copy field name first. Let's remove this. Header name, department, ID, then email ID, and last one is contact number. Fine. So now to my reusable component, to the column list, I'm passing array of object. Inside that we have field name also and the column name also. Now your HTML also a little bit change. Now what should I write it over here or over here also? Now here in item, what we are going to get? In item, what we are going to get at line number 6? Previously, column array was array of string, but now it's an array of objects. So what we need to do over here? This like this, na? Here, this and heading. So you will use header name over here. And over here, you will use field name. Got it? Now let's check, save. See, now employee name, correct data is coming. Why it got broke? Okay, in project component, we didn't handle that. Let's change it to project component also. Okay, now we need to convert it to array, right? Curly bracket. What was the field name? Let's copy this to field name is a project name. This is first object. Client name, start date, and employee name. This is start date. This is employee name. Sorry. Okay. Now in project also we will be able to see the proper data. Got it? So instead of passing the string of field name, actually object field name, whatever the field we have passed array of object with what header we need to display and what key we need to render inside that particular TH. Understood? Fine. So I wanted to take one more, but it's very getting late. So one more, like anyone might have used that show more and show less functionality. What do I say? Show more, show less JavaScript. See, like this, right? So while working on application, we sometimes, let's say, address or some narration, it will have so many of multiple characters will be there. But if we show everything, whatever we get from the API, it might disturb our table or the UI. So whenever we work on an actual project, we have a reusable component like this, where we can write this, whatever this logic is there, where we can toggle this show more and show less. So we can pass what number of character we have to initially display, and this button will be in my reusable component only. Once I click, it will render whole data. Again, if I click, it will show the remaining data, means whatever number we said. So this I wanted to explain, but let's stop it for today. Fine. So anyone having any question with reusable table? Again, so many things are over here. If you see, now in project date, we are showing this date, but now we should be able to add the pipe also now, right? So where we created array of object now, this, so here we can pass the data type also, data type of the field what we want to display, and based on the data type we will add the pipe also over here. So here again, if statement will increase, if data type is this, if data type is this, again we will add a respective pipe. Okay. Again, we can have a single text box that will be able to filter it out, pagination, sorting also, everything we can do in a single component. When we work on an admin project, admin application or any application, sometimes we have to do a client side filter, pagination and everything. Sometimes it is on server side. When we have very limited data, let's say 1000 record, 2000 records, so we have to go for the client side. Then if it is more than data, we go for the server side sorting, filtering and pagination. Right? So how do we see? Most of you might have faced that intro question, or you might have got the machine test also like that, that how implement a table where you have a single text box to filter everything, you where how you can sort it also, you can implement the paging also. Very small code is there, it's not very big code. Sorting is also very easy, and pagination is also very, so for search only you need particular logic. If you understand that logic, you don't need to remember that also. So just three functionalities: searching, sorting, and pagination. So in reusable table, when we work, actually we have everything over here. We need to write it everything, right? So this is very basic table we have created. But again, a more advanced version will be we can have a sorting also, pagination also, and the filtering also. Fine. Yeah. So I have 5 to 6 minutes. Anyone have any quick question? Guys, quickly, if anyone have any question.
Sir, for a dynamic website, especially if you want to have more tables in the portal, like is it suggested to use grid layout or flex for Angular?
No, see, grid and flex is altogether different. In website, we normally go for the flex, correct? We don't play with grid in website. But if it's an admin application, so we go with grid. You got it? Why flex in website?
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
This is Arvind. Actually, in Angular, how to implement the interfaces like in the component grid we are using in the everywhere. The table we have to.
Yeah. So instead of
create.
creating it over here, now we should have a inside this folder we will create. But just for the time being, I created over here. Okay. We can create it anywhere. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Anyone?
I didn't get you what you mean with admin. You mean admin role?
No. Admin kind of application where we have two types of application, website or admin, right? So if it's a website, we have to manage responsive and everything, right?
Yes.
So normally if it's a website project, so UI designer or whoever creates the basic, they will go with the flex. They won't use the grid structure, right? So that's what I said. If it's an admin application, in admin application, we don't have website kind of responsiveness. We have forms and the table or the card, right? So we go there with grid. Okay, but it's not something like that. Most of the guys who are from the website background, UI, UX, they prefer flex, and those who are purely Angular or React developer, they prefer grid system because they know instead of using more HTML, they understand Bootstrap or somewhere, right? So they choose the grid. Nothing wrong with anything. Both are going to be same. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And one quick question, sir, which is good for like, is it good? Angular is good, better, or React or Vue.js in India?
No, it's not like that. Every technology has its pros and cons, right? If it's an industrial application, project is very big, everyone will go with the Angular. If a project is small scale and speed is important, everyone will go for the React. Again, Vue, it's like similar to the Angular. Here also we have ng model. There also I think model is there, somewhat similar. I mean, all the three languages we have component. If you understand one language, in React also we have component. In Vue also we have component only.
Yes.
Correct. So it's not something that every technology has purpose or based on the company also. What senior managers or senior management, let's say, in previous session, some was there from .NET background. So in .NET, if someone is from that .NET background, in .NET we have one library for table. I forgot that name. So if your senior peoples are from the .NET background, so they will ask you to learn Razor. So whatever we do over here with Angular and React, same thing we have got in .NET also. That is Razor, right? So it's based on the company environment, what we are. Sometimes it's based on the client also, what they need. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, what about Blazor?
Blazor, it's a .NET technology.
What's or yes, I'm talking about
Same thing.
s-
How Angular works, no? Same thing like Blazor also works.
so
Hi,
it's
sir.
going to be in production or not like Angular. We can
No, I
make
am not familiar
production.
with Blazor that much. Just I know the basic.
Okay, thanks,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah,
Hello,
Shubham.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm from Ahmedabad right now,
Mm.
and I'm working as an intern in a company. We have a huge application in Angular,
Mm.
but in debugging, I am getting problem. Means I'm not able to find where it from comes because it's a huge application. Like it's a
So they didn't
uh,
provide you the KT?
KT means
They didn't explain you the project?
no. They just give us a live sites and they
Mm.
say that explore it yourself and
So see, whenever you are doing
uh,
the login, now see how many roles you have, right? What kind of,
yeah.
we have admin role, guest
Yeah,
role. So
yeah, two
just
roles, a
first,
staff
yeah.
login and the chemist login.
Right. So first see what are the roles we have. And based on role,
Yes.
once you get from the
Yeah.
login, once you get the role, where you are storing that. And that role, if you are storing it in the
Yes.
social storage, local storage, or any in the subject or somewhere, see wherever you are
Okay.
using that. So based on that role, so many places you might be hiding something, show you might be showing something, correct?
Yes,
So
yes.
try to
They
follow
they
like
all
that.
depend on the permission. They all
Right.
providing lots of
Right.
permission.
So sometimes in
Yeah.
API, even the roles are same. Na? Each user will have some different permission also. So you from in login API,
Yes.
you will get the permission object also. So start from there.
Yes.
See how based on different role and based on the different permission, how things are changing in your application. If you just
Yeah.
go that way, you will slowly understand the application. Then it's Angular only. Somewhere they might be using
Yeah.
templates, somewhere reactive.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will be
They are
creating
using Angular
services.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a services, shared services. There
Add
is
a
a
debugger
different protocol.
everywhere. Add debugger everywhere. Whichever the component you are debugging now, add debugger
Yeah.
everywhere. See how flow is going. right? From the page load, what
Yeah.
is happening in the engine unit? What things we are doing on the
It's
engine
a
unit?
it's a huge application. When
Let it be na.
anything save,
See,
it
see.
will take a 5 to 6 minutes to compile, and then I will
So
see the
don't add
output.
debugger in the code, na. In the HTML also, in browser also you can add, na. Just
Yeah,
press
yeah,
Control
right.
P and add the debugger over there. See the flow,
Okay.
how it is behaving on the page load, what we are doing. Correct?
Yes, yes, right.
Yeah. Fine.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have another meeting plan. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. I will be sharing recording on the YouTube. Thank you all. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank you.